Yeah, you're kind of freaking out. Freaking out, man.
I'm freaking out, man.
That's not working.
It might be /mood_calm.
Alright.
That seemed to work.
Just
Yep, there you
making
go.
sure that everything can be seen on the channel here. Alright, so I do have an opening clip. It looks like it's picking up the game, so let's see if it picks up the opening theme song. I will count down when I start it. And then, that will be... And then when it finishes, I'll give you the okay.
Alright.
I thought I had it open here.
Let's see. Let me turn on.
And I forget, are we going to actually play a game after the non-sleep stream?
There'll be ESO later tonight.
Okay. Just wanted to double check on
for
that.
those of you that play ESO. For me, it's going to be sitting around.
Alright, so we've got the opening. I'm going to count down and we will start, okay?
Okay.
Alright.
Okay.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay. Alright, we are good.
Alright. And welcome to the first ever Loungeleats live podcast streaming on the October 2nd, 2017. And we are going to be on Lotro tonight. My name is Randy Ronson McCulloch. I'll be your moderator for the evening. I am a former columnist, strategist, and editor for RPG Monthly magazine. With us is Aaron Romeo Moon Burke, the founder of Loungeleats and a former columnist for Fun Curve magazine. Say hello, Aaron.
Hello.
Also, we have Mad Matt Winchell, whose YouTube and VidMe channels have shown him playing numerous games over the past, 5 years now?
Oh gosh, it's been 7 now.
7?
Yeah.
Losing track of time.
I've been reviewing and doing video games since 2010. Hello, everybody.
And also Sarah Bloy, a longtime Lotro player and all-around expert on Lord of the Rings.
Hello.
And we may be joined later by Barry Kazak Goldberg, our comic relief.
Comic relief and
mascot.
unofficial mascot now at this point.
All right. How's everyone doing tonight?
Doing pretty good. I will admit this is the first time ever doing Loungeleats live, so
well, we've done it. We've technically done Loungeleats live at conventions.
Kind of,
kind of, sort of. But
Yeah.
This is a completely different animal.
Alright, so a quick overview of Loungeleats. It started out on Blip TV. The reason why is, a lot of reviewers at the time, like Nostalgia Critic was on there and everything. I don't think Angry Joe was, but because Blip TV had such stringent rules about gameplay and stuff, you couldn't really do Let's Plays. I mean, you could, but your channel was in danger of getting shut down or, delisted or something. I'm sure they would have figured out something to get rid of you, but so I came up with the idea of just simply finding a tavern, an inn, or a bar inside of an MMO that I played on a regular basis and just kind of sitting around and talking about the game. So, and that's how the show started. I eventually ported all of those videos over to YouTube, and because I've become a little bit more proficient at live streaming, and because my schedule is just so cramped nowadays with working 48 to 50 hours plus staffing a convention plus live streaming, I just simply don't have the time to sit down and edit a full-length video anymore. So, we're going to give Lounge Leads Live a try and see how this all works out. Sorry, Randy, your audio.
Sorry, I muted myself, so I didn't make a noise while you did that. Sorry. No, I believe
Joys of live.
I believe the last time, the last Lounge Leads you did is actually still sitting on your hard drive.
Yeah, I did one last recording of the Secret World, before it became Secret World Legends, or before it became Reborn, sort of thing.
So that's been sitting around for like a year.
Yeah, that was filmed back in December, and our last uploaded, edited video was from, I think, August. So.
Yeah, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so it's been a long time since we've been,
You
More than a
can almost
year
be
now.
excused for thinking that Lounge Leaks was dead.
Yeah, it's not dead unless I say it's dead. So. Alright, so Sarah has made us a lovely guild hall here in Gondoran. Or Gondor, blah blah blah. It's in Gondoran Heights, I believe it's called, right?
No, it's Bay of Belfalas.
Okay.
Yeah, not sure where they're getting the Gondoran from.
Yeah.
Oh,
But
okay.
yeah, this is the new section of housing that came out since last time Lounge Leads had a podcast.
Yeah, I'm speaking of that, I don't remember the last time we actually did Lotro in
Yeah.
this podcast, because that had to have been about a
that
year.
had to have been at least a year or so before the last
That
time
was
we had
actually,
this podcast.
That was a couple of years ago, possibly when we tried our first initial rush to Moria. So,
which the majority of you
Which
still
ended us
haven't gotten to.
Well, let's take a little run around the place. Follow the Swan Kai.
I mean, technically they're all the way up to Mordor now.
So
I
this is the
remember
front
when
yard.
I
Yeah,
remember
front
when
yard.
Moria first went in.
So,
God, does that mean that we've been playing this game for so freaking long that the entire eastern part of the map has been filled in?
Almost.
Yeah, well, except that they've still got other parts that they're planning to, at least according to the map. So here's the front yard. We've got this nice little mirror from Moria sitting here, and the standing stone, which is probably one of the hardest pieces to get, because you could only get it through during the 10th anniversary this past year, and it was the hidden quest after you finished up all the other quests in the 10th anniversary.
Oh God, that whole bit. Oh.
Yeah, it was a riddle you had to solve, and I'm not ashamed to admit I went online and found out what that was.
I think I know the one you're talking about. And yeah, you had to do all the previous ones to actually get the location to appear for you.
And we have Marigold guarding our property. She's one of the rewards that you can get for doing the Bingo Baggins quests.
oh, cool.
You mean the bingo, or is it Baggins or Boffin?
Or Boffin, yeah.
I was going to say it sounded. I'm somewhere in the troll shaws on that one.
Yeah. And some of the other common ones, and
May
also,
you wish to punch yourself out.
yeah,
For
yeah. The
trying
Bingo
the Bingo
Boffin one
Boffin.
is kind of annoying.
Well, I read. I'll admit, I looked it up on the wiki. I read that particular quest line. It's like he gets about halfway through everything, and then
Yay,
he just
fireworks.
turns around and heads home.
Yeah, he's really kind of annoying. He's a little bit of a ferret in that sense, but you do get some pretty cool stuff for housing items and things like that too. So.
Okay. Well, so a nice little initiative for actually following through with his quests.
Yeah.
At least, so.
And then over here,
I
we have
loved his
more
ass
front
of Tom
yard.
Bombadil. May he rot in hell.
Yeah. And look, we have a sandcastle. That was another reward for the 10th anniversary event.
Huh, cool.
The mini Beacon of Gondor.
Why do they have? Are they able to get a large one?
Yep, I've actually got that in the front yard of my house, which is just right down there.
Kind of
Wait, where
weird.
are you?
You have the small beacon in the guild house and the large beacon in your personal yard.
Yeah, it just worked out that way. It didn't fit very well up here. And got Galadriel's mirror, and this is a trophy housing item. This one right here, Tharlok's blade, is a trophy housing item you can get. Tiny little old man Willow, which is another thing from the 10th anniversary.
So cute.
He doesn't have the power draining badassness. Up here is sort of just our garden, just kind of some trees.
You mean that thing that Bjornings just laugh at?
Yeah, exactly.
Haha. What's
This
this
is sort of our
thing called
garden up
SP?
here, and this
I
up here
don't
is
see you
our-
guys. You
our
lost me.
farmyard.
Up the hill.
Up here.
Up the hill in the backyard.
You guys are running off without me.
Actually, we
Follow
didn't
the
party either.
sunlight. Yeah.
Well,
that
yeah,
too.
it's because we weren't expecting to need to party.
Yeah. So look, kind of a garden. This is also the farming, the home farming garden that you can get.
Oh,
So,
Oh yeah.
when they discovered that you could spam farming on one plot of land, they thought, oh yeah, you only gonna need that much.
yeah. So, and that's the outside.
Okay.
So shall we go in?
Come in.
Yeah.
Oops.
Gotta go around, I
Lost you all.
think.
Yeah,
Yep.
around to the front.
Yeah, I knew that. I was just seeing if there was anything up there. I've actually
Yeah.
never been
I'm trying
back
to see if I
behind
can.
you.
Yeah, I'm not finding a shortcut in the back.
There's
there
no shortcut
really
on the
isn't.
back.
You have to go around.
Man, I
I tried
beat
mountain
everyone
goat it,
else.
but I wasn't able to mountain goat it. I need something taller to bounce off of so I can jump over the invisible wall. I know how to mountain goat, damn it.
Ah, my kite is in the floor.
Hang on, I'm still
What the
loading.
hell?
Nope, it's not from my aspect.
Oh man, so it's just mine. Well, I'm inside. I probably shouldn't have a kite anyway.
I'm still loading, by the way.
It's just one of those random graphics bugs.
Yeah. So, yay, front
Where
room.
is everyone?
We're still in the front.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Like none of
Yeah,
you
I like
guys had
this.
loaded in yet.
It's like this really annoying bug they just fixed in Conan Exiles. Regardless of your gender, when you died and the server crashed, you came back, you were male, naked, and your wang went through the floor. Just saying. Yeah,
Haha, dang.
Randy, where are you?
I'm right here. We're waiting
Yeah,
on Matt.
he's loaded.
Oh. Okay. Sorry, I don't have everybody's names up.
Sorry, I was.
There you are.
I keep hearing them. We're outside. We're inside. We're outside. We're what
We're
now?
inside.
We're
Sitting
inside in the front part.
There we go.
Yay. So here we are. Yay. This isn't quite so built up yet, but I'm still working on it.
I do like
Yeah,
the.
even built up as it is, it takes me a good minute or so for it to load so I can
Yeah.
actually walk.
Yeah. So yeah, this is probably the most interesting thing in here is the Banner of the Paths of the Dead, which is another Bingo Baggins quest thing.
I was
if
gonna
I
say that's
recall.
pretty awesome.
Bingo, bungo,
Or,
boffin.
yeah, Boffin.
Why do you keep saying Baggins? Stop treating the
'Cause
Baggins.
Baggins
so poorly, damn
is-
it.
Over here we have the living quarters, which includes the kitchen. There's the
Plenty of
oven that
grass.
You can
You know,
craft, and we've got a supply.
I know it's because that's where the space is,
Yeah.
but mentally it annoys me that the oven just sits here in the middle of everything.
Yeah, it's just where the space is, unfortunately. Like, they have not made it so that you can move around yard anchors at all yet, which kind of sucks.
Yeah, I would really love that.
Bedroom. Breakfast table, yay. And sort of these two middle rooms here are kind of the library. Big old Moria geode. And the study for all the scholars that you might be playing. And the workshop with the workbench. And the forge.
Now, this one I don't mind it's out in the middle because forges usually are kind of like that,
Yeah.
Yeah.
but the stove bothers me. It just does.
Yeah. I don't blame you. Oh yes, and then there's the mystery door, which we can go through later if we want. But
Yeah,
No.
not
I
right
wouldn't
now.
recommend it now.
Later.
Later. I
No.
would not recommend it. And we go upstairs. Oh, here we kind of just have the back room.
Kind of a storage room.
Oh,
couple
look,
of
Yeah.
the
bookcases.
ale.
Yeah.
Gigantic keg of ale, yes.
Ooh.
And then you go upstairs, and you've got kind of the front library. And the meeting space. Ha ha!
Ooh. See, this
There
is
we
really
go.
nice.
I have to tell if that's supposed to be water or
I'm gonna
not.
turn off
I don't
names.
think it
Yeah.
is.
There we
It
go.
is supposed to be water. It's supposed to be a reflecting pool, but it doesn't actually
Oh.
move. So it's kind of
Yeah,
silly.
I think they need to update that.
Yeah. It doesn't do anything that water normally does in this game, which is annoying.
Yeah, water is really nicely done in here.
Yeah.
Normally.
All right, so that's our guild house in a nutshell. And before we continue on with Lotro, I would like to bounce over and do the news for a bit, because we do
Alright.
have a few news articles
Alright, let me bring this
that
up
I'd like to
here.
get out. All right. So the first thing is that we have received rumors from Blizzard Studios that they are currently working on a new mobile MMORTS. They have not announced what title it is. It is a mobile game, and usually I wouldn't talk about those, but this is a Blizzard game. Blizzard, of course, being the maker of World of Warcraft and Overwatch and
Hearthstone, which is already
Yeah.
a mobile game.
I'm not sure it started that way, but yeah, it is.
I think they almost simultaneously released.
Okay, so it probably was developed that way. Wasn't sure. Either way, the only reason we even know about this is the fact that they pulled out an ad looking for an experienced Unity mobile client engineer to work on an unannounced MMORTS project. This is also the same thing that the aforementioned Hearthstone runs on. We've also heard previously that they're working on a shooter, or at least a game that plays from the first-person perspective. This is not going to be that game, so there's two things under development.
Wow.
Whether those two things are related and whether they do have anything to do with either the Warcraft or Overwatch franchises is yet to be seen. We know it's not going to be Diablo because there's nothing coming out for Diablo this year.
Yeah, and shooter, they've already got a first-person shooter out there, Overwatch, so...
Yeah, but it wouldn't surprise me if they made another one with a different genre. Maybe more of a melee-based, like, WoW fighter or something. Anyway, moving on to the next big thing is Final Fantasy XIV. Square Enix is about to release patch 4.1 for Final Fantasy XIV Stormblood. This is going to be a huge patch for them, and they are massively hyping it. Let's see. It's there is going to be a new version of the boss, the Minstrel's Ballad version, and it is also going to be custom deliveries for crafting. There's going to be a lot of new things for this. They've got a whole bunch of videos and everything about it. So be prepared for this to come out if you play Final Fantasy XIV.
A bard boss? So that means that they actually added bards then.
Yes, apparently that might have been in 4.0.
Not that I'm aware of.
Well, then they're
4.0
prepping
update
it with 4.1.
The previous class update was adding red mages, so they must be adding bard in the new one.
Yep. Okay. From Tryon, Rift is doing improvements on its housing dimension system, already one of the better housing dimension systems available out there. These improvements come in the form of an item increase limit across the board and a cost decrease to raise the item limit in your dimension. Small dimensions can be upgraded to hold up to 1,600 pieces of decor, while medium can now go up to 2,200 and large up to 2,800. And they are also putting out a new lockbox that's themed around a terrarium concept. The Land Aquarium lockboxes will contain 200 new housing items. as well as a chance for a new dimension key.
Lockboxes.
So we know we won't see Bob for a couple of months after that.
Oh, I'm sure Bob's gonna be broke for the next month.
Yeah.
Right.
All right, our next piece of news. Uncharted Waters Online, a game that we have often said we were going to play and review on this, but has never gotten around to it, has lost its North American provider again. This happened back in 2013 when Netmarble folded, and the game was handed over to OG Planet. Well, now OG Planet has folded, and they are in the process of passing the game over to Papaya Play. This, I think, gives Uncharted Waters Online the award for being the pass-around whore of the gaming world.
Wait, isn't that
I don't
Hellgate
know about
London?
that. Yeah, Hellgate London probably has worse pass around than that.
Really?
Yeah, it's been passed around at least 5 or 6 times,
Yeah.
and each time after it's been passed and the company folds, they're just like, it's dead, and all of a sudden it comes back.
Yeah.
Well, this they announce ahead of time because the core game is not going to die. The manufacturer of the core of the game in Japan is Koei, the maker of things like Dynasty Warriors and Romance of the Three Kingdoms.
Yeah, that's not going anywhere.
Yeah, they're gonna if they have to do it themselves, they will make sure that this thing lives in foreign countries.
And it is it's also fairly popular in Japan and Korea, even though it doesn't face the usual Korean format of grind till your eyeballs fall out.
I really don't get that format. I really don't.
Even so, it will be returning to North American markets on October 18th.
Oh, wow, they're already really
much
sure
of
on that. Okay.
Yes. Papaya Play is already working on it. Whether everything's going to convert over directly or if this is going to be a massive server reset, I don't know. I'm going to stay tuned on that one. And finally, our last piece of news is that Conan Exiles, which is not technically an MMORPG, but is one of the Sandworks open world games and is Funcom's latest profiting, well, making their first profit in years game, has started development for PS4. The game had started on PC and ended their early access, or started their early access on Steam in January, and then in July or August, I can't remember which, they released the early version of the Xbox One version and released a new zone, the Frozen North. Now the same company that's made the Xbox One port is making the PS4 port, and according to their weekly development blog, the company has already got it working on their test box for PS4. So that's progress. PS4 does not have any form of early release thing like apparently Microsoft and Steam does. So that one is just going to be released when the game is actually released in March of next year according to their specs.
Mm-hmm.
I'm looking forward to it because I really like that game.
I have a few nitpicks. I'm hoping they cleared up some of them.
Talk to me afterwards. I'll see if they fixed it already. All right. So that's basically the news, and that's all there is to it. I did parse out a lot of news because, much like Matt and I have said on our other podcast, if we were going to do a podcast with all of the sci-fi news, it would be a podcast in itself.
Yeah.
And for MMO and video game news, that's the same thing. You could make an entire podcast out of it. So I just really just mentioned the titles and companies that we here at Lounge Leads have experience with and are interested in.
Mm-hmm.
And there were a few things. I mean, Star Trek Online has a new thing, but it's just a new issue that doesn't really fully add much to the game, not like when they did the Romulan expansion a few years ago. And, you know, the same thing for most of the other games. They've released some minor updates, but nothing groundbreaking. So, let's move on to the game of the stream, which is Lotro, as we've mentioned. Normally, we would have a first-time player take a look and give their opinions, but all of us have been playing Lotro since God was a small kid.
As far as you kids are concerned, you little plebeians.
I mean, like I mentioned earlier, I remember when Moria first came out.
Did Moria first come out when we joined? I thought it was already
No,
out.
it was already out.
Moria was already out. What came out right around the time I joined up was Rise of Isengard.
Yeah, that's what I remember. Because Matt and I pre-ordered
I was
that.
a little bit before Isengard, so...
Yeah, we were a little bit before Isengard. It came out just as we started, playing, so...
Playing, yeah.
Mm-hmm. It came out just as the majority of us started to pull the group together to start playing.
Right.
So, we're going to skip the new look, because none of us are newbies, and talk about our stream feature this month. And that would be the Bjorning class, which at least 3 of us here are. We started our recent batch of weekly live streams by everybody rolling a Bjorning and just going with it. So tell me, what do you think of the Bjorning thus far, for having played it for approximately 40 levels worth of content?
I really like it. I think it's a different kind of character. You don't get to be other classes with the Bjorning. Bjorning is both a race and a class. But I like the fact that that's the only one like that. It's something unique to itself. I also like turning into a bear. Turning into a bear is awesome. I'm not on my Bjorning right now, so I can't do it. But
I like the lack of power.
Yes, you have the rage instead of power.
Power is one of the most annoying stats in Lotro. Because you're sitting there in an extended fight and you're fighting. Frack, I'm out of power. I can't do dick.
Yeah.
And here you don't worry about that. You have the rage thing. Hey, look, fighting. Hey, look, rage is 100. Bear. Kill.
Rawr.
Out of rage. Back to normal. Fight. 100 rage again.
I also like the detail that they made your bear form's fur color match your hair color for the actual. I do like that. That's pretty cool.
And they also kept your facial markings too.
Yep, and they keep your facial markings.
I also like the fact that it's a lot more balanced than most of the other classes. Trying to solo as a guardian sucks because you just can't get the damage.
Yeah, it takes forever to solo as a guardian because you're just crawling along. And then
it's not as broken as a hunter, but the hunter also can be kind of a glass cannon depending upon your build.
A hunter can be a glass cannon. If you're getting past the fact that you're dying on the way to the hunter, you can munch on that hunter and watch him go down, and he can also run out of power and get his ass kicked.
Yeah. The real glass cannon in the game, I think, is the champion.
Yes, and that was what I was going to bring up. The champion in particular.
Super glass cannon,
my level 109 champion has fewer hit points than my level 107 minstrel. It's just lame as hell. And I just can't.
Minstrel's the healer of the party.
Yeah, well, minstrel is either DPS or healer, depending on which build you're using.
Or depending on the build, you could be just middle of the road, but mostly you want a healer, usually.
Yeah, if you're in parties, you're probably the healer.
But the Bjorning
have a berry.
Has decent DPS. It has...
Hello.
Hi, Barry.
I'm apparently a very nervous-looking person. How did you get my, how do I get my facial stuff to stop tweaking?
Uh-oh, there you do.
Yeah.
/mood_calm.
There we go.
I wish there was a way to default that.
Yeah. For some reason, like, it used to default to that, but for some reason, like a couple of updates ago, there was just this thing where every once in a while you log in and you're in the frightened one. It's like, what the heck?
It's just like, why am I so terrified looking?
I'm freaking out, man. I'm freaking out.
Well, before that, you'd log in, and I don't know what mood you were in, but you looked like you had a seizure.
Yeah.
That's what it looked like to
one,
me.
one side of your mouth was just drooping down, and the other one, I mean, it literally looks like it looks like you had palsy.
Right. Yeah, and they have actually changed the what your character looks like system. So that's been updated to kind of just make everything a little bit more softer and rounder and a bit more realistic. So that's kind of cool too.
Yeah, that's one of the things that we should mention that has been updating the game is that there's been the improved visual looks. While they haven't been perfected per se, a lot of the faces do look a little more human.
Yeah, I do like the looks here a lot better than when I started because
I still noticed a few Hobbit faces where I'm like, that doesn't look right.
I don't think the Hobbit faces changed, actually. I think it was just humans, elves, and... I think it was actually just humans and elves.
There was a slight change in the Hobbits, but
yeah,
it was a slight one, and there's still some faces that's like, nope, never.
Yeah.
I remind us, the changes they've made in Lotro remind me of when they added Ultra Mode onto City of Heroes.
Kinda.
And you could suddenly tell that you went from this low to medium graphics to a high amount of graphics. Everything looked a lot nicer under
Hi,
Ultra.
Vixie.
Hey, we got
How do
Vixie.
I do calm again?
/ mood underscore calm. Are you tweaking out too?
Mood underscore calm. Yeah, that's intuitive.
Yeah, right.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay, good. My eyes stopped vibrating.
Yep, there he was having a seizure.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, so
And
back
I
on
was
the
just like, ah!
And this is why Barry is our mascot, everybody.
Yeah.
Quick, stick something underneath Barry's tongue. Hold him down.
Okay, so back on the subject of Bjornings. Is there anything else anyone likes about the Bjornings?
They're tanky without
Bees!
Oh yes, the bees. Barry's favorite part is the bees.
they're tanky without being sucky for damage for the most
That
part.
was, I think, what I was getting in before Barry interrupted, is the fact that they're in balance between tank and DPS. They've got that crap ton of hit points. They've got enough. There's at least one power that allows them to heal.
Yeah.
And it heals a decent amount.
And you can revive your friends. Like, when you actually hit a very difficult area, it can be pretty intense. But then if someone goes down, you can revive them with, I believe it is, the Bear Up.
Bear Up, which gives your target ally 50% morale and 40% power.
Is that a line only skill? Because I don't think I have that.
Yeah.
No, I'm pretty sure that's the Bjorning skill.
Yeah. And that is one of the saving graces that got us through the Legolas Jenkins quest that we did a few weeks ago.
Oh god.
Yeah.
Frickin' escort quests. God damn it.
Yeah, that one saved our bacon.
Also, there's also recuperate, a heal in bear form, which might be tank specific, but
oh yeah, I hadn't taken that yet. That's going to be on my list next.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, I actually had a point available, so I have it now.
I just bought it too. Alright.
That was the one problem that was bugging me, is I couldn't heal in bear form. So wow, that's going to negate that negative.
it's also very spammable. I just did 3 of them.
Yes, we can see that, Barry.
Yeah.
Alright.
Okay, so is there anything you don't like about the Bjorning?
I'm not quite sure if I like the healing line. Like, I tried to go the healing route. That was my initial route. And,
the animation in bear form feels a little bit odd. It feels like it's kind of swimming through molasses for some reason. I'm not sure why. It just sort of feels like you're going really ponderously slow.
Probably because it's based on your movement speed.
Yeah, and it's a bigger animal.
Mm-hmm.
Picture in Grand Theft Auto if you got in a tank and you went the same speed as like a bicycle.
Yeah.
It's not slower, it just feels slower.
Yeah. They kind of obviously just sort of recycled the bear running animation from the bears in the game. And then but the problem is you're running slower. So
All right. Anything else? All right.
I don't know. What
All
about
right.
the class quests?
Class quests happen on all classes.
Well, yeah, but what do people think of the Bjorning class quests?
Nothing particular about it,
I
other
like
than
them.
it is a little bit hard to keep track of it because they don't exactly initially give you a quest. They give you a piece of mail and then you have to find the NPC.
Yeah.
That's not unusual.
Yeah.
The
I
thing
was-
is,
The other classes,
usually
they actually
the
give you
piece
the
of
quest,
paper,
period.
the piece of paper starts the quest, and they don't on this. And I'm kind of wondering if the developers dropped the ball on that.
yeah.
Yeah, I don't really remember a lot of the class quests for Bjorning. Like, I remember the burglar quest on my Hobbit, where you or the hunter quest, where you have to go hunt the wolf that's running
I
around.
believe the last one we did as a pseudo group, or at least around the same time as one other, was the second one, where we are asked to go out into the old forest with somebody, and we managed to find out that there's a injured bear out in the woods.
There was one that you did
Yeah.
after that, and that was the one in
That's right,
Oscaruth.
Yeah, there's one on
Oscar
the
Ruth.
roof that we also did as more or less
Yeah.
a group.
Yep.
That one, no, that's right. That was one of our own kind turned traitor, and we tried to track him down.
Yeah, and he had
Oh, yeah,
he had
yep.
teamed up with the dwarves, the evil dwarves or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember because I was in the North Downs when you guys were doing that because I didn't know we were planning on live streaming that and did it ahead of time. No, other than the fact that they don't auto pick up the quest when you read the message, I'm otherwise fine with them. They're just like any other class quest, other than that point. All right, so let's move on to one of our favorite sections called War Stories, where we tell our favorite story that we've had in the point of playing this game. As this is Erin's live stream, and this is the first live stream version of Lounge Leaks, I'll let her go first.
I'm gonna say it's the first time that I learned that you don't mess with our peers.
Describe, please, for those that weren't there.
So,
Yep.
for example,
It was
we
not
were.
intentional.
Barry.
And
Hang
I
on, Barry.
apologize.
Barry, quiet.
Barry.
Ben,
Quiet.
or Barry.
You do not have the floor.
All right, so we were gathering in the Prancing Pony, and Barry was practicing his roars, and on the other side of the room, by the lobby, there was a couple of dwarves, obviously on one of them on a bot. So, and they were just kind of playing. They were doing the player music stuff, and we walked in, and Barry kept roaring and making a disturbance, and eventually this dude apparently gets so mad that he starts throwing Halloween tricks onto Barry. And those tricks, those emotes that you can throw onto people can make you faint, they can bind you, they can basically keep you from moving or doing anything. So it keeps you from disturbing the performances and stuff. And I was just like, wow, I didn't realize that there was, obviously we prefer to play on PvE servers and whatnot so we don't get ganked and whatnot, but there is a way of messing with people and or preventing them from messing with you.
Yeah. You can actually turn off the forced emotes in your character.
I have.
I've done that for most of mine too, because I find it mostly annoying.
Yeah, and I've never really run into them, mostly because I don't make an ass out of myself. So I never have to worry about it. So, but some of us apparently feel the need to roar in the middle of people's performances regardless.
My volume was down so I could hear the actual voice chat between us, so
That's
I didn't
still not an
realize there was
excuse,
a
Barry. You
communicate
know
going on.
for a fact that the bear makes a lot of noise.
Yeah, I know.
It's a
But
bear.
once I started doing it, I stopped. And as soon as I stopped, they kept putting the things on me because
Because
apparently
they knew that you were spamming them and they want you to be quiet.
Then I stopped, and they didn't. So after
It's called
after-
revenge.
I know, but then after like the fifth time they put it on me, I'm like, dude, I stopped. Why are you still doing this? They finally decided to do it to someone else in our group.
No,
I
they
forget
did
who
it to me
exactly.
because I kept laughing at Barry because Barry kept falling down.
Oh, okay,
Getting
so
put
that's
to
why
sleep.
they did it to you.
Yeah, so they eventually did it to me. So yeah.
Yeah, was that the same night that we went back there and they went, "Oh God, the bears are back."
Yes.
Oh, possibly.
Yes, we came marching back through there because of a quest, and they're like, "Oh God, the bears are backwards." Like, we're not staying here. Bye.
Yeah.
Trot, trot, trot.
All right. So Matt,
Okay.
how about you?
I'm assuming that most of the party here can remember this one.
Oh,
The
I
lone
know.
survivor.
I know what he's gonna say.
Hang on, Barry.
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 When somebody has the floor, the only two people that can speak is that person and me. And I only can speak
Okay.
if I'm saying we need to move on.
Also, as a reminder, guys, and not just for Barry, but for everyone, we do have mod powers to mute people on Discord.
Everybody behave.
So, a reminder, Barry.
So, Matt, does this one have a title?
As I was saying, the lone survivor. So, as we're leaving Rivendell one day, Randy makes it known that he's trying to outrace me as usual, and it's like, okay, fine, I'm gonna take a shortcut. Aaron had me on autofollow, Barry was following Aaron, and Randy was just trying to outdo all of us, so he had to follow me in order to try and outdo me. Little did we know that I was actually taking a shortcut right back into Rivendell, but everyone else followed me. Aaron screamed, Barry just dove in, and Randy didn't want to be outdone, so he dived in as well. I managed to hit trees early and break my fall without having harm. The rest of the party literally jumped off a cliff and died.
Yeah, well, you
Party
jumped off a cliff and
single-handedly.
dragged us with you.
You dragged yourself along with the others decided to join in unwillingly.
Yes, you heard this. Even on a PvP server, Matt manages to find a
PvE.
way to be a team. On a PvE, I said E. I think the on a PV, even on a PvE server, Matt finds a way to be a team killing fucktard.
Hey, you all decided to try and chase after me. I'm the one that knows how to jump off cliffs.
And this is, by the way, why we don't follow Matt anymore.
That's why I get hold of the iron now.
Okay,
Irons are mine.
Sarah.
Oh gosh, there's been kind of a lot recently. I've been doing a lot of the roving threat raids with the Alliance kinship, which is one of the bigger kinships on this server, Landerval. But they just pick a couple of the regions each week and just run through all the roving threats in a giant big raid. But I think the first time we did the Mirkwood ones,
Oh, thank you, Vexy.
there's one of the roving threats, that Gomgor, that is a pain in the butt, and we hadn't figured out how to do it. And we had a full raid, all 24 people, and still team wiped completely because we hadn't figured out what his mechanic was yet. Finally figured out eventually that the secret to him is that you train him around, but I think we team killed like 5 times before we just gave up that day. It was really kind of ridiculous. We're like, why can't we do this? We mowed down the other ones. It was just really, really strange. It was like, what? Why are we all dead? Wait, oh, it's because he's got a reflect that builds over time. And if you don't kill him within about a minute and a half, he's going to one-shot you. Gomgor is a little bit brutal, and now in the Wastes they've got a bigger version of him that is now also shielded by ads. So you have to kill the ads first before you can do any damage to it. I can't remember what that one's called, but it's basically the same mechanic. But now we just like set a couple hunters on either side of him and train him back and forth, and everybody else just dumps range towers on them, and then we just take him out now. So we had a hell of a time figuring that one out.
All right, Barry, it is your turn now. Do you have an anecdote of your favorite moment?
No, I haven't really been thinking about this, so off the top of my head, the only thing I can really think of is one time I was watching either a live stream that I wasn't playing, or I was watching YouTube of previous live stream I'd missed, and I'm like, oh, they're lost. Oh, wait, I wasn't there for them to follow. Can't blame me on this one.
Okay.
We can still blame you from far away. We still
so
blame you
often
anyways.
I am so often the scapegoat for a lot of these things. Like, were you following Barry? Ugh!
Yeah, I was
half the
following
time it's
Barry,
true.
and that was my first mistake.
Okay, so I have...
Notice the title above my character. If you are following me with that title, that's on you.
I have stated for the record that apparently Barry's characters in most games are somehow related to the Hibiki clan, because they all can get lost in a room with one door.
Yeah, that'll happen.
Okay, so I've got two. One of which I was there for, one of which I wasn't. The one I wasn't there for was the story of Matt and the Moose.
The moose. Oh god, I remember the moose.
So one time when...
They bit my ass once.
So... I was not on a stream one night, and these guys were, and they decided to go get all the waypoints around the western part of the map, and that included dragging them all up to Forahel, so they could get the the transit points there. And on the,
yeah.
I call it Forahel because it's...
It's pronounced for a hell.
Oh, it is actually pronounced Forahel because it looks like Forachel, but it feels like hell.
Yeah, it's a Sindarin word which means that the ch is a ch sound.
Okay.
Anyway, they drag him up there, and apparently Matt manages to piss off a moose.
Yeah, well, that was when we were all like way too underleveled really for Forahel, and we just kind of decided to see how far we could get, and then somebody agged a moose.
And it basically kicks Matt's ass. And I hear about this story when I log in later. And I go up there, and it's just like, so, moose, huh? I go up there on my hunter, and the head of that moose is now hanging on my wall. The other story is back in the beginning of the roaming threat area when I first ran into one. And I'm just like, what is this? What is this? Let me check to see how many hit points. That's a lot of hit points. And why did my bow just go off?
And don't look for that.
Was this Freeland?
No, this was up in the Misty Mountains. That was that first time we ran into that frost one.
Yeah, the frost giant one.
And I was just trying to click on it to see how many hit points it had, and apparently it triggered my auto fire.
Yep.
You clicked once too many.
Yeah, that
and
was.
Suddenly I shot it with the bow, and I'm like, no!
And then you were respawning.
Okay, so that's pretty much it for the war stories right now.
So do we call that last story the Misty Mountain Hop?
I call it ride the... Wait, that's not a worm.
That moment when you say to yourself, why is he looking at I'm dead?
Yeah.
Okay. So let's get your overall thoughts about the game as a whole. And again, Aaron, you're first.
Alright, well, I really do enjoy this game. It's kind of taken the place of City of Heroes. It's kind of my home game now. I may not be on here all the time, but I'm on here a good chunk of the time. As well as trying out and returning to older games like Rift and Anarchy Online and stuff like that. So, Yeah, I really enjoy it. I love the immersion, the fact that you can turn off your,
Who's
everything,
mouth breathing?
basically.
That'd be me, probably. Sorry.
Or getting caught in the fan.
No, that was probably me trying to move to where I'm trying to get my back in a better position, and
Well,
it
you're
causes me
also
to breathe
hearing
heavier.
whispering Russell.
Yeah.
Well, anyway,
Sorry.
so
Stop
we
now.
can,
So anyway.
you can go ahead and just turn off your UI. You can follow the stars. You don't even have to have your radar up or your quest tracker. You can just run around and do stuff. Or even your UI. If you know your attacks well enough, you can just go ahead and do whatever and just play the game like this without any kind of control scheme here or any kind of names popping up. Unless you, like, click on someone. But yeah,
I mean,
so...
if you know all your Alt plus a number, Shift plus a number, Control plus a number stuff, then yeah.
Mm-hmm. And some people do, to be honest.
Yep.
All right. Matt, how about you?
I have to agree with Aaron that this is feigning the fact that we will probably not see a replacement for City of Heroes anytime soon. This is probably one of my more favorite MMOs at the moment. I do like coming back to this as often as possible. Admittedly, we've milked it a bit for previous Lounge Loots runs because we keep wanting to come back to it. Even if we actually stop making the Bjorning run our main run, I might actually still keep Lord of the Rings on this time just to keep working on it because I've actually got a character who's not completely broken like a hunter, but also can take a hit on like the hunter. So I don't mind trying to keep going with the Bjorning right now.
And I'd love to see you actually get to Moria.
Yeah.
Well, I actually have paid for Moria now, so yes, I can actually get through it this time, now that we're practically there.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, we still got a bit to go there, buddy.
Yeah. Yeah, we still have to go through Oregion.
All right. Sarah, how about you?
You know me, this is my drug, man. This is home. This is my everything in the gaming world. I love Lotro. I will never stop playing Lotro. It's the only game that I subscribe to. It's Lord of the Rings. How can I not love it?
Mm-hmm.
If they did poorly, you would not love it.
There is that, but the fact that the devs definitely know the lore, they know the world, they really do. If it's in the books, it's also on the game map here.
They redo
It's
major
fantastic.
cities just to have more RP nooks
Yeah.
and crannies and stuff.
Yeah.
That's
when
how
when they redid Bree, that was pretty cool. And if you haven't been to Minas Tirith yet, oh my god, that is gorgeous. There are like about 5 different taverns, a couple different theaters, just a whole bunch of places to go to RP, and just it's so gorgeous in there.
Sarah, I'm pretty sure everyone else here but you can actually say, no, we haven't been to Minas Tirith yet.
Oh god, you should get there. It's so cool. It's a long ways up. You're gonna have to be up into like level 90 to get
I'm
there.
sitting here at Gondor and looking at the thing saying, buy this region, and going, no, not yet. Not
right.
yet.
Yeah. Yeah. Dol Amroth is pretty too. It's not quite as grandiose as Minas Tirith, but it's fairly pretty.
All right. Barry, how about you? Your thoughts about the game overall?
Well, considering that it's called Lord of the Rings Online, I think it is very faithful to the content it draws from. I think that the gameplay is very well done. Although personally, excuse me, I slightly prefer a pet class, and I also slightly prefer stuff that's more sci-fi / horror-ish than fantasy, which this is. So, while technically I think they do a top-notch job, my personal taste is saying I much prefer another secret world, perhaps, as opposed to this. But for this game, based on what it is amazing. I will not argue against that ever. This is an amazing game, and if I could be my lore master with a bunch of Bjornings in the team, that would be even more satisfying than being one more Bjorning of the bunch.
You have to get your lore master up here first.
Yeah, my lore master is only a few levels lower than this character, so easy enough to build.
You'd have to work on it though.
Okay. So, I will not make any bones the fact that Lord of the Rings Online is a WoW clone. It is in that same category as WoW itself, Perfect World International, Rift, Dungeons and Dragons Online, which is by the same company that makes this, and a few dozen other MMOs out there. However, a lot of those games are horribly broken messes. WoW itself, if you play through the original World of Warcraft, is a terribly broken game. The devs broke quests years ago and haven't bothered to fix them.
Mm-hmm.
And the early areas show very little signs of having been cared for at all. This game, on the other hand, is cared for almost meticulously.
They pretty much made the one. I think the one main problem I have with WoW that this one takes care of is the fact that they actually have a cohesive story that doesn't backfire on itself.
Yes and no. Yes and no. Book 1 is a fairly cohesive story. And then you just basically start following the ring quest.
Yeah. Well, now with Mordor out, Mordor actually is set after the destruction of the ring, so you can't be following the ring quest anymore. I haven't played it through any of that yet, but that does seem to open things up a little bit for that. So that's
yeah,
cool.
But what I'm saying is, when something's broken here, the devs will try to fix it within a patch or two.
Mm-hmm.
Which is better than what you get on some of these other MMOs. Matt is right. There is more coherency, at least into the early parts of the quest. Later on, it just seems to get more of a follow-y feel, but apparently they're fixing that with Mordor, so that's cool.
But also the thing I'm trying to get at though is that we followed key storylines in WoW, and they've still referenced characters who have been like long dead in game for like 10 years.
Yes, but that Matt goes back to the fact that to the base point that I said, that the devs aren't taking care of it.
Yes,
they're like, that zone is done.
No, is that yes, they obviously don't care in WoW.
Yeah, they don't
give
care
a shit anymore in WoW.
Whereas
Lord of the Rings Online
money.
actually cares, and they actually made sure that they wrote things so that it didn't have to be re-altered that massively.
Well,
they did.
And the other thing too is the fact that WoW and the others are a evolving storyline. People change, people die in the storyline and are replaced. Here, you're taking place during the time of the Ring War. The game isn't evolving per se, like it is on that. You're taking place when you start a new character. It doesn't matter if the other character is in Mordor already. The new character starts at the beginning of the Ring War.
Yes, because you technically are still progressing through as the story happens for your character.
Yes, the story does not progress
without your character.
Yeah.
It does not progress on an annual level like other games do.
Yeah. You kind of know the story. You know what because it's Lord of the Rings. You know that eventually Frodo's going to toss the ring into really, but so the ring is going to get destroyed, and then what do you do? And they're kind of starting to explore the okay, so what happens next of the post-Ring War, which is kind of cool.
So, following this, I mean, that's where you need to have that extra care with devs, is in particular games that have an evolving storyline. This one, where you have a static storyline, you don't need to change as much in the earlier zones, but these guys still managed to keep these zones up to date, managed to add new graphics, new sprites on a fairly regular basis. So, by far, this is probably the most superior of the WoW clones that I've played. Thus said, I do have an issue that eventually I need to put down a WoW clone for a while and play something else.
I don't. I am happy to immerse myself in Middle-earth all the time.
Yeah, I'm waiting for Doctor Who online. You'll never see me again.
Of course, me too.
We thought
Randy
that
will
was
spend
Star Trek
eternity
Online
being
too,
chased
and
down
that didn't
corridors by
happen.
Daleks.
Yeah, Star Trek Online kept me for a great deal of time. It kept me for a couple of years.
For a while.
But mind you, I was bouncing between that and City of Heroes because I had the massive COH crew.
Sure, yeah.
And then I tried to make it my primary game after that. But the problem is that it's with STOs, it's so long between episodes
Yeah.
that once you've done all the content, you either make a new character or you sit around and do the same missions over and over and over again, and that's grinding, and I hate grinding.
Grinding sucks, yes. That is one thing that I have noticed is that when you do get to level cap in this game, it does kind of turn into a grind fest. Because the only way that you improve at that point is to get the better gear, to eke out those last skill points, that kind of thing.
And Sarah,
yeah.
You've just described every WoW clone in existence.
Exactly, yeah. But they just had
You've
it.
almost described every MMO in existence.
Pretty much, yeah. that is my one problem with this game, is that at level cap it's kind of just nothing but grinding.
We haven't hit level cap yet, so we don't know.
Yeah.
Anyway, so does anybody have any final thoughts to add about this game?
Yay!
Yay! I enjoy it. I plan on to keep playing it. Live stream seems to be pretty healthy for it.
You said that about the AO live stream too, and yet we're not doing that anymore.
Yeah.
Well, no, we're not doing AO anymore because I got bored with it and wanted to play something different.
that and we kind of worked in our way into a corner where we couldn't progress without extra help.
Yeah. Anyway, AO will all be the home game, Timmy. Just stating. All right, so that has been our live stream for the evening, and we're a little over an hour, but not bad.
So
we are trying to get this to about 60 minutes, but we're only over by a little bit here.
All right, I'll bring up our information here.
All right, go ahead, and I don't have a paragraph on the.
So I've
the
got.
support.
We've got the special guests have been Sarah Bloy.
Hello.
And Barry Kazak Goldberg.
Hello.
Alright, so, and then we've got our information up here. You can catch us on Twitch, as well as YouTube, and then also my personal live stream channel for YouTube, which is where you'll probably see this video first. And then we've also got the Loungeleats Facebook group and the Steam group, and as well as you can find Luke Schwab's music on SoundCloud. And if you would like to, you can go ahead and donate. Sorry, I actually have to scroll down here. I have so much stuff. You can go ahead and donate to our Patreon, or if you don't want to subscribe to Patreon, you can go ahead and make a one-time donation to Streamlabs.
Okay, is that everything?
Yep, that's everything.
Okay, so next time, which should be somewhere in early November, Aaron will let us know ahead of time, we will be going on to do a, probably online, as that is the other group.
What online? You're flicking out.
Yeah, you're breaking up again.
Sorry. Podcast about Elder Scrolls Online, which is what the rest of the group is doing. And they will be doing an Elder Scrolls Online live stream later tonight in about what?
About an hour, 9:30.
About hour and a half. Okay. And you can catch regular live streams by Aaron on Monday night and Thursday night. For the rest of this time, and possibly the occasional other live stream for holiday events as they permit.
Yes, Halloween is coming up on us.
And that actually is a section I forgot to add, so if you'll let me bring this up really quick. It was supposed to go with the news, and I forgot it.
Ooh.
Bad me.
Perils of live.
Yeah, it was something I forgot. I told myself to add it in the car, and I didn't. And that is the fact that we have a listing of current events for the major games that we play. Currently going on, WoW has Brewfest going on through October 6th.
Yay!
The Harvest Festival is also going on through October 6th. And the Dark Moon Fair started yesterday in WoW and will continue through the 7th. Starting on October 10th and going until November 3rd, or till the end of November 2nd, it looks like, the Lotro Fall Festival is going on at the Party Tree in Hobbiton. On the 13th, and going on until the 8th, ESO will be having the Witches Festival in Stone Falls. On the 14th of October, WoW will be having the Great Gnomgaran Run, which I believe is largely a social event. And then on the 18th, WoW will be starting its Hollow's End, which will go through the end of October, or actually to November 1st. And then Wildstar, which we have played before, will start Shade's Eve on the 20th, and will continue until the end of the 2nd. Other games, of course, will be having holiday events, but we do not know when. And we might be joining one or more of these for the occasional live stream in the near future at an unusual time. We do not know when, however. It will be subject to the group's availability. Come back in an hour and a half to catch the ESO stream. And, of course, join Matt, Aaron, and myself Wednesday nights for an Unearthly podcast, if you're a Doctor Who fan, where we will be starting our new season, which is dedicated to the enemy of the Doctor, the Master. So we will be reviewing his first episode, Terror of the Autons, on Wednesday night at 10 p.m. Central, 11 Eastern. Join us then, and until then, this is me, Randy Runson McCulloch, here with Aaron Romeo Moon Burke, Mad Matt Winchell, Sarah Bloy, and Barry Goldberg, saying good night. Good night.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Goodbye.